Welcome back. Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Dominant Mets Nation, episode 13 of our off-season Central Series. And you know what, folks? We got another fun, exciting video today. We are going to be talking about a mega superstar pitcher. Where is he going to go? What are the odds of which team he will potentially land? And then also, this man by the name of Corbin Burnes. Would you rather have him or a guy by the name of Mr. Blake Snell on your team? So we'll look at that quick comparison, but this is what I want to get into. I want to get into, is it worth signing a 30-year-old man, Corbin Burnes, very talented, to a long-term contract? Because I dived into the stats, and something significantly has changed about this man. And if this didn't change, maybe I wouldn't be so convinced that he is worth the contract. But we're going to go over the changes in his repertoire, the changes in basically what has this man altered or made better. Okay, we're going to look at that very shortly. But first, I got to give you your Juan Soto update. So as of today, Mr. Juan Soto still wants an ungodly amount of money, and he's still unsigned. Okay, that's your Juan Soto update. All right, so before we get going, as always, show your support if you find this entertaining, if you enjoy our content. This is a passionate, very passionate MLB Mets community. Smash the like button, subscribe. We love everyone, and I mean everyone, to join us. The more, the merrier. And that's why we created an X account on the bottom of the screen. Follow us at Dominant Mets. It's brand new, so we're still building it up, but join us. All right, so let's look at Corbin Burnes. And you know, the thing is, the reason why I want to talk about Mr. Corbin Burnes is because, first of all, Juan Soto, we know that's the big fish. That's the guy holding up the whole market. Scott Boras, that's the biggest fish. Obviously, he wants the most money. So everybody, all the teams are holding out, where the hell is this guy going? But we all know, if you are a New York Mets fan, you cannot, and I repeat, cannot wait for the decision of Juan Soto. All gears have to be in motion, and the number one priority for most teams, especially our New York Mets, is pitching, and more pitching. A guy like Roki Sasaki, we saw he was recently posted. He's going to be posted. That's a guy that every single team will be interested in because every team can afford him. Okay, so we will pursue him when the time is right. But Corbin Burnes is a guy that few teams probably can afford. The Mets are fortunately one of them. Now, Corbin Burnes has been an elite, and I mean elite pitcher the last couple of years. Really. So Corbin Burnes, since 2020, was in the top 8 in Cy Young Award, top Cy Young Award category 4 times, and he won the Cy Young Award in 2021, where he had a dominant year at age 26. So the guy has been ultra talented. But you know what? A very good thing about him is he kind of reminded me of a little bit of Jacob deGrom. And I'm going to give you a little bit, a hint of what we're going to talk about later. Corbin Burnes only started throwing a lot of innings in his age 26 year. Before that, in 2020, he threw 59 innings. Age 26, that was 2021, he threw 167 innings. Then 2022, 202, 2023, 193, and last year, 2024, 194. So he has not really thrown a lot of innings. So yes, he's an age 30-year-old guy, but in terms of innings thrown, he's really more of an age 27, age 28-year-old. So let's keep that fact in mind. So first, what we're going to do is let's look at the odds. Let's see which teams are actually favored to be in the running for Corbin Burnes. And, let's go through it like this. So there's been a lot of team rumors, and the Yankees. We'll start up with the Yankees. According to DraftKings, they are at positive 1,000, right? So they are at plus 1,000. Then the Giants come in at plus 850. The Dodgers are always in there. They are at plus 800. Padres plus 750. Orioles, the team that he is already on, plus 600. Cubs plus 550. Red Sox want to do some damage. They've been sleeping the last couple of years. They are at plus 500. But the number one team that is favored to sign Corbin Burnes, according to DraftKings, but I've seen them being as favorites all over the place, are the New York Mets. They are favored at plus 450 to land Corbin Burnes. And right now, it looks like he's expected to get a deal around $200 million. Now, I think if you sign him to a deal, 6 years, $200 million, I mentioned he's going to his age 30 season, so he'd be with you from age 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35. That really doesn't seem unreasonable for a guy, like I just mentioned, that has not thrown a lot of innings. Every single pitcher is a different story, a different. So you have to look at things differently, and we're going to get into what has changed in the Corbin Burnes repertoire that actually makes him more attractive. There has been things done, and I heard this year, well, his strikeouts are down. Well, folks, that doesn't matter because other things are positive about him. All right, so as we go forward, I like to look at as many sources as possible. And, I was checking out Bleacher Report, and the gentleman by the name of Zachary D. Reimer is another gentleman who projected the Mets not just to pursue starting pitchers, but really to land Corbin Burnes. So Reimer predicts Burnes is going to get a deal, 7 years, $210 million. All right, so I did 6 years, 200. He's going 7 years, 210. Everybody's predicting around that mark. And this is what he says. He goes, in quote, the Mets are more of a speculative possibility, albeit an obvious one, Reimer wrote. Their front office is run by former Brewers GM David Stearns, and owner Stephen Cohen could have enough money for Burnes even if he's able to sign Soto first. Burnes, like I mentioned, won the 2021 Cy Young Award. Last season, his career best 15 games with the Orioles. He had a 2.92 ERA, 1.096 whip. Okay, so Corbin Burnes seems to be a major potential fit for the New York Mets. As we mentioned with the odds, it seems like there are many other teams in the mix. Teams that have a lot of payroll, like the New York Yankees, like the Boston Red Sox, like the San Francisco Giants, who seem to always be interested in free agents. But Reimer of Bleacher Report continues to point out that the Mets are the obvious and best choice for Corbin Burnes. Going on, Stephen Cohen is one of the wealthiest people, and I always say this, 21 billion times over. And I'm so amazed how the guy increased his net worth $8 billion in 4 years since owning the Mets. That is freaking amazing. Okay, so it's also not clear. Is Burnes looking for the most money? Is he looking for fit? Is he looking for a big city? What is he looking for? Is he looking for a connection like David Stearns, familiarity? What is he looking for? Is he looking to go to a winner? Could be a combination of all of the above. But the Mets, they provide all those. They provide a winning team. They provide mega amount of money. They provide a familiar atmosphere. So what would Burnes ultimately bring to the New York Mets? The New York Mets already went to the NLCS in 2024. We know that. Severino, Manaea, Quintana, Peterson all posted ERAs below 4. Okay. And also, all those, Severino, Manaea, and Quintana all threw over 170 innings. And we see Burnes in the last 3-4 years has been throwing a lot of innings. He's been an innings eater. But we know this. We know this. If you look at Mania, you look at Severino, you look at Quintana, all those guys we pitched in the playoffs, none of them were close to the caliber of Mr. Corbin Burnes. Right then and there, you have a top tier pitcher, whether he's your one or your two. He's a guy who is a difference maker, in my opinion. The 30-year-old right-hander has finished in the top 10, like I mentioned, in each of the past 4 seasons. He will most likely accomplish that again in 2025. All right, Burnes led the NL in ERA during 2021. He led the NL in WHIP in 2023. He also led the league in strikeouts per 9 innings in 2021. Although his strikeout totals were down in 2024, Burnes is perhaps the best starting pitcher a team can add this offseason. And I'm going to address, because this is what I see. Everywhere I read, I hear that his strikeout totals were down. Well, we will address that momentarily. If you hadn't got a chance and you like the content so far, you find it a little enjoyable, please like, please subscribe. It really helps to support the channel. And like I said, if I see that each of these videos are supported, we just make more videos. So thank you in advance. All right, so let us address our part 2 of the video. All right, so a lot of the rhetoric out there is, who would you want, Burnes or Snell? Burnes or Snell? Burnes is going to be 30 years old. I believe Blake Snell is going into his age 32-year-old season, so there's a 2-year difference. Blake Snell, obviously, last year he was a free agent. He was a free agent last year. The Mets and a bunch of other teams had the opportunity to sign Blake Snell. They also had the opportunity to trade for Blake Snell in the middle of the season. So in my opinion, there's really no competition between Burnes and Snell. I think if a team had a choice, obviously, my New York Mets would choose Burnes. Already had a chance to sign Snell. Snell is a different category. Snell, I would say, would you rather sign Snell or Sean Manaea? That is a more likely comparison for me, but I think it is a no, hands down, no doubt about it, Burnes versus Snell. You're going to want to sign the younger guy, number one. You're going to want to sign the guy who has been, in my opinion, the better, more consistent pitcher over his career. That is Corbin Burnes. That is the guy who you would sign. And as we get into the repertoire of Corbin Burnes, I'm going to show you why he's a better pitcher, and I'm going to show you why he is going to be worth the money. Now, David Stearns, typically being that Brewers general manager, he hasn't been used to giving long-term contracts. That's not the philosophy with teams like the Brewers, giving 7-8 year contracts. In my opinion, I think I would be surprised if it went to, you hear 8 years. I don't think it would go. I think the sweet spot is going to be 7 years. I think that is going to be the sweet spot. I would prefer 6-year contract, but I think the sweet spot's going to be 7 years. And if it's rumored 7 years, 210, let's give Reimer of Bleacher Report credit there. Let's say, he hit it right on the note. 7 years, $210 million. For a guy like Corbin Burnes, who hasn't really started throwing a lot of innings until his age 26, and that was 2021, just 3 years ago, the guy hasn't really thrown a lot of innings. Now we're going to look at what has changed about Mr. Corbin Burnes. What has changed? In 2024, let me start off with this. The average fastball velocity for Mr. Corbin Burnes was at 97 miles per hour. That was his average fastball velocity. Now, you're probably thinking, what does that mean? Well, it means that was his highest fastball velocity in his entire career, his highest average fastball velocity. In 2023, the average fastball velocity was 95.3. In 2022, it was 96.3. In 2021, it was 96.8. So in the last couple years, 2024, we saw already his highest fastball velocity. So he didn't lose fastball velocity. He has been gaining fastball velocity over the last couple years. Now, what has else improved? Because we see he's got less strikeouts. Is he less effective? No. Let's continue to dive deeper into the numbers and things that I like. Okay, so we see number one, his fastball velocity has increased over the last couple of years. What else has increased? All right, well, his base on ball percentage has been the highest in 2024 than in the last couple of years. This year, it was in the 80th percentile. Last year, his base on ball, 48th percentile. In 2022, it was in the 72nd percentile. So in the last 3 years, last year, he had the most accuracy. So you have good stuff. He throws the fastball. His fastball has been increasing, and his location has been increasing. What else has gotten better? Well, his ground ball percentage has gotten better. In the last year, in 2024, his ground ball percentage was 81st percentile. In 2023, it was in the 60th percentile. In 2022, it was in the 71st percentile. And in 2021, it was in the 78th percentile. So Corbin Burnes has been tweaking his repertoire. His fastball has increased. His location has been better. He's inducing more ground balls. The man, as he's getting older, is pitching smarter. He's not pitching to strikeouts. That's a good thing. That is actually a good thing. Now, all right, now you're asking, well, maybe his pitches don't have as much movement. Maybe he's not as nasty. Well, let's look at his chase rate. His chase rate in 2024 was in the 89th percentile, 89th. In 2023, it was in the 65th percentile. Huge difference. In 2022, close, 87th percentile, but still not as high as 2024. So we see, again, faster fastball, better location, more ground balls, higher chase rate. The guy is learning how to be a better pitcher. Now you're like, okay, that doesn't really make too much sense. What really has changed? Well, we've changed. His repertoire really has changed. In his career, Corbin Burnes has relied heavily, and I mean heavily, on his cutter. He has thrown his cutter almost 50 to 55% of the time. Well, in 2024, that cutter usage went down to 45%. So what went up? What changed? So that changed. Cutter usage went down. Curveball usage went up. Curveball usage was always between 15 and 17%. Now in 2024, it is 22%. His third most used pitch was his slider. He used that 13% of the time. In past years, he would only use the slider 3 or 4%. So his slider was used much more. He has a changeup. That was about the same. In the last couple of years, another new thing with Corbin Burnes is he has introduced a sweeper. He started introducing that pitch in 2023 and has refined it over the last 2 years. Doesn't use it ridiculously a large amount of the time, but he still has it in his repertoire. Corbin Burnes has a repertoire of 6 pitches: cutter, curveball, slider, changeup, sinker, sweeper, and he does have a 4-seam fastball as well. So this guy's got a whole repertoire of 6 to 7 pitchers, and he's been developing, tweaking, changing, pitching more to contact. His pitching run value is in the 98th percentile. His fastball run value is in the 96th percentile, and his breaking run value is in the 88th percentile. So there are a lot of advanced numbers that really speak to how Corbin Burnes has tweaked his repertoire and has him improved throughout the last year, 2 years specifically. This shows me a man who knows that, hey, you know what? You can't do the same thing over your career. You have to evolve. Showing that he has evolved in this last 2 years specifically, tells me that he is going to be successful. I brought up that he hasn't thrown a lot of innings. He only started throwing a lot of innings from age 26 on. That's only the last 4 years. Not a lot of innings. I am comfortable giving him a 6-year contract. If it has to go 7 years, so be it. So be it. I need an ace for the next couple years. Remember this, folks. Lindor is going into his age 31 season. I believe his age 31, 30 or 31. But he's in his 30s. Let me just give you the accurate information. All right, so Lindor is going into, he's going into his age 31 season. He is 31 years old. Just had a birthday a couple of days ago, November 14th. Happy birthday, Francisco Lindor. So no doubt about it, Francisco Lindor in his prime. You got to win now. Corbin Burnes, you surround Lindor with players who can win now. Yes, we're going to still go after guys like Garrett Crochet, Roki Sasaki. Those are the future guys. Those are younger pitchers. But if there's one guy I would invest in, I would heavily target Corbin Burnes. All right, so those are my reasons. And to boot. I mean, I don't value it highly, but he does have that relationship with David Stearns, and I don't think you can sweep it under the rug because that does mean something. That certainly does mean something. So let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, follow us on X if you haven't got a chance at Dominant Mets. We're going to be more active as time goes on, so don't worry about that. Thank you so much. If you have any comments, concerns, drop them or follow us on X. Let me know over there. Thank you again. I will speak to everyone very, very soon with our next episode and updates.